Cool stuff here. So this was the 1997 to 2000 logo on Dad's business card here. Look at that with the early cards with the website. Nothing on the back, so that's a cool piece of history there with that nice ball print on there, the seams. You go a little further through time here, and I know somewhere I've still got the 2001 to 03 card, but this is the 04 till 11. This was that blacked out gray J. People say it looks like it was going through its emo period, right, or its goth period, but I actually thought, like, I loved that logo as a kid. I mean, I was 04 through, what was this again, 04, I think they brought the blue back in 2012. And this one's got Jay's Care Foundation on the back, but I mean, that is really cool, that logo right there. They got their red in there from the maple leaf. So, I mean, the maple leaf's gone in that one, and I think that's why they went back to their original, but I always like that because when you see a blue jay, it's got a lot of that blue and gray in it, the actual bird itself, and I thought that the logo had a bit of attitude. They had that T as well that was a part of that kit for a little while, maybe 05. That was like the Vernon Wells, Troy Glaus, Benji Molina, BJ Ryan. Hinsky might have been there for that uniform. Hillenbrand might have been there for that. Aaron Hill was definitely there. Koski was there. Halliday was still there. I mean, there were some really cool, great players. I think 06 might have been a second place finish. I think that was a very good team. Benji Molina, I remember, hit home run on opening day this year. I was at that game, and yeah, I mean, this was a pretty cool time. Tough times for Blue Jays fans. How many times the playoffs were missed. And I'm very mixed because I grew up in Montreal, and Montreal and Toronto are fire and water, man. I mean, I can't pull for Toronto teams, but when my dad worked for the Blue Jays, it was like, man, I gotta support these guys. And Ricciardi was there for a while, and then Anthopoulos came in, and there were some moves that those guys made to try to be competitive. And I mean, you're dealing with the Red Sox and the Yankees in the AL East at that time, and it was tough to pull for Toronto because you wanted them to win and you wanted them to do well. I wanted them to do well because my dad needed a ring. And the whole time my dad was there, 01 until 2015, no playoffs until he died in April of 15. And it was that year when they made it to the championship series against Kansas City. And didn't make it beyond the Royals. And the Royals went on and won the World Series. So that's kind of your, I guess, for that squad, Encarnacion, Pilar, Tulowitzki, Price, Bautista, all those guys, their calling card is that the team that won the World Series had to go through them. So that's always something I used to think, like with the Expos, 79, 80, 81, even 82, finishing second to the Cardinals. 79, the Pirates won, 80, Phillies, 81, Dodgers, 82, Cardinals. They all had to go through Montreal. So, yeah, it's just one of those little consolation prizes you wish you didn't have to have, but yeah, I mean, these were cool times, I thought. I have great memories of Blue Jays games and going there with my dad. And this is the most current. So he was there until 2015, my dad, and this is the old, this would have been 2012 till 19, because I think they primaried just the bird now, which I think he's on the back. Yeah, so I think they primaried the bird, like elevated the bird a little bit, and then the circular logo, like the circle mark goes, on other things, cards, and there's probably a lot of pieces of merch in the team store. I haven't been to a Blue Jays game in over 10 years in Toronto, so I don't know, but I'm sure that team store's got that logo all over the place. But this is cool. This is from the last round of cards they would have given my father when he was an ambassador at amateur baseball in Canada. Him and Sean McCann kind of had a similar job. My dad put in a lot more years in baseball than Mr. McCann. Sean McCann was an actor. He was in Chicago. He was a great guy. He passed. He was also in the Miracle movie. He passed away not too long ago. Actually, I know it was in the last 5 to 10 years, but it all feels like it wasn't that long ago. But he was a really great guy. Kevin Brion, Harry Einbinder. Shout out to those guys. TJ Burton. Just great guys with the Blue Jays. And I know that Harry is still there. And he's prominent there. And Kevin Brion is a cross-checker there. And he's a great, just has been an amazing guy towards our family. And they've got great people. Those Indians guys came over and really turned the team into something that, you get Rogers money and the minds that were putting the Indians into the playoffs for so many years. Guardians now, I guess, but Atkins and Shapiro. But, Anthopoulos went all in, put all the chips down there in his last year in Toronto, and then went to the Braves. So the Blue Jays kind of sometimes end up being a stepping stone for people to pass through, but they're legit now. You could say the same thing about the Expos. But yeah, this is just a very clean, crisp looking card. And good times, man. This right here, I really like this. This is opening night, Tuesday, April 2, 2013. Do you know the significance of this night? Let's see on the back here. The significance of this night is that this was Terry Francona's first game managing the Cleveland Indians after taking over. So him and Brad Mills were there, two former Expos there on the 81 Expos. My dad used to, pencil them into the lineup. And we went to the ballpark that day. And I remember I walked over while my dad was on the field talking to Tito. And I knew they were having kind of an in-depth, not serious, but an in-depth conversation. And it looked very personal. So they, both of them looked borderline a little bit emotional. So I backed off and let them talk. And, I guess Terry was saying, my dad always told him, you're going to be great at this. Just stick with it. And that's when he went to manage the Phillies, the coaching and the managing. And I guess my dad was one of the guys that always believed in him. I'm sure a lot of other guys did too. My dad used to always tell him, you're going to be a fantastic major league manager. And he had some tough years with the Phillies, but then he went to the Red Sox and broke the curse in 04, won another one in 07. And went to the Indians, and that 2016 World Series was one of the greatest. Was it the last greatest World Series that we had until the last one in 25? I can't remember another World Series between 2016 to 25. I think those are the last two that were like really, really stellar that you can remember, like moments from each game, and there's an atmosphere to them. But this was Tito's first game managing, and it happened in Toronto. First game managing the Indians happened in Toronto. He'd obviously managed before. Another cool thing is that Geddy Lee threw the first pitch. Geddy Lee of Rush threw out the first pitch before the game that day. And my dad knew him as well, and I'd met him a few times. And I remember I was sitting in the dugout with Jamie Campbell, the broadcaster, and Geddy Lee walked by. I was like, "Hey, Frank." And Jamie was like, "How the hell does he know? What? How do you know these people?" Because we were just talking about Yes and Steve Howe, and the day before we were kind of joking. Or I guess no, this would have been not the day before. This was opening day here. I know that Jamie and I had talked about Yes and Steve Howe because Greg Zahn was a drummer, and Greg Zahn loved. I'm sure he still is a drummer, but Greg Zahn loved Neil Peart, and I saw pictures of his drum set one night at that St. Louis bar across the street from the Sky Dome. So if you were to go there after certain Blue Jays games back in the day, back when this was the logo, and probably going through to this too, you'd have probably run into Jamie Campbell, but definitely Greg Zahn. You'd have run into him at St. Louis across the street. And I remember we were talking about Rush and Limelight and all that stuff, and showed him a picture of one of my guitars, and then he showed me the drum set that he had on his phone. That was pretty cool. So Just so many great memories hanging around Blue Jays people and hanging around the Sky Dome. And, going to the Baseball Canada banquet in January every year. Go with my dad, and Chris Robinson would be there, Greg Hamilton, Jim Baba. Oh man, there were so many guys there. Really, a lot of legends. Adam Stern, Jamie Romak, Philippe Aumont, Denis Boucher, I think, was there a few times. Derek Aucoin. Like, this was before Expos Fest. I mean, when was the first? I don't know when the first Expos Fest was. There was an 81 gala that was not called an Expos Fest. It was like Montreal Baseball Project or something. There are a few things, like these Baseball Canada banquets. I remember going to these things in like 06, 07, 08. And we had like, Morneau would go and Russell Martin would be at these things. So it was just like who's who of modern Canadian baseball. And one year when I was still playing, I went there and like one of the catchers from like the Vaughan Vikings or something in Toronto, they kicked the crap out of us in the OBAs. Like, we lost to them that year, and I remember the catcher on the other team was there, and we saw each other and we're like, hey man, what's going on? Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, beat us twice, or we lost. I don't know. We lost 2 games. We were out of this tournament in like a minute. We basically got to Hamilton, or maybe it was Sarnia, but we basically unloaded our bags off of our bus, and then we're putting our bags right back on the bus. So this is a very fast tournament for my team, the London Badgers, that year. But yeah, man, just a lot of memories come back, and I know I'm kind of rambling, but there's so many awesome memories going to those Baseball Canada banquets and just seeing some great people. And I forget where I was going with that, but Zahn, maybe? I don't know. Oh, Campbell would always be at those. Warren Sawku, Jerry Howarth. Just like really great collections of awesome people from Canadian baseball. And it really felt, Sean McCann would be at those too. It really felt like it was, a small family at the time. And I mean, I had to leave Canada in 2016 or something, 2016, 17 or whatever, to go to the U.S. to work in baseball. And now, 2025 and 6, I'm seeing like internship opportunities come up for like the old Intercounty League teams, which is now the Canadian Baseball League. And at the time, when I was looking for baseball work, like for real, there was no way that Intercounty League would have been able to, you wouldn't be able to live off of that. It would have been very part-time, maybe even voluntary. So to work in affiliated ball, which I did, I had to leave, had to go to the U.S. But it looks like now, I really hope that, there's a market for kids and younger guys and girls that want to get into baseball, maybe on the business side or scouting side. I hope that there's more opportunities coming up in Canada, and I think there are. And again, I haven't been in the Canadian baseball scene lately. I'm in the Florida baseball scene, and it is constant, and it's Florida. So, I mean, you obviously know spring training, year-long, no winter, no snow. Canada, man, I mean, it was tough when I was there. There was only the Vancouver Canadians and the Toronto Blue Jays, and there were, 180 or however many, 160 teams in the U.S. So if you put out resumes to every team, you had a better shot of landing something rather than just sending a resume to 2 teams and hoping for the best. It's the same. You don't want to apply at 2 jobs. You want to apply at tons and tons of jobs, because it's that volume will get you something. It'll get you some answers, and then once you get in touch with somebody and you can talk, you can actually make a pitch for yourself. But I know I'm rambling. I love the direction that baseball is going in Canada, and it's actually it's really touching to see all that's happening. And Jim Baba dying was really tough, and his wife passed too, and there's just been some real blows dealt to baseball in Canada. And yeah, man, the program has stayed so consistent under Greg Hamilton. It's become one of the top programs in the world. We're going to see it in the World Baseball Classic, and if you happen to watch this after the World Baseball Classic, you will have seen it. Baseball in Canada is really growing. Chris Robinson's got a facility in Dorchester, Ontario, where I used to live, and it's one of the best facilities. But yeah, his Dorchester fields that he's got are like a competitor to what would have been like the London Badgers and Tecumsehs when I was growing up. So kids are getting a lot better instruction, and it's the age of video and the age of YouTube, and you're able to watch a lot of stuff. And guys like Chris Robinson are teaching kids, you know, how to play the game in a way that it's never been taught before in that area. And if Chris wants to be able to get the attention of a room without having to say anything, he can just put on that YouTube clip of him hitting a home run as a Padre, and you know, you got the room's attention right there. It's like, dude, you better listen to this guy. You know, long professional baseball career. Adam Stern, Jamie Romak, just some great people that are taking the reins in Canada for baseball, and the impact that World Series had. I'm seeing it in the spring training games here in in Lakeland, the Tigers games. There are so many Canadian fans that are at the ballpark, and I mean, it's not normal to hear what they're saying to to Schneider and to the players, because you get the Orioles guys coming in, and you get the Mets and whoever else comes to town. Yankees fans, you get them kind of shouting stuff out too at the players. Sign this. But I mean, with the Blue Jays guys that came through, it was like, John Schneider, I love you. And like, just like telling players, Varsho and these guys, like, I love you, man, thank you, and all this stuff. And it's like, shoot, like that's stuff that the impact that World Series had on that area in Toronto was huge. And those folks are coming down from Ontario to be at, in Florida for spring training. They're going to Dunedin, they're going to Lakeland, so it's pretty cool. They're making their trips. And yeah, Blue Jays history, the 50th season now. Again, I'm not coming around on Toronto teams. I mean, when people are like, oh, you're from Canada, you must be a Blue Jays fan. It's like, oh, well, you're from America, you must be a Yankees fan. It's like, well, dude, I'm from Oklahoma, I'm not a Yankees fan. Well, dude, I'm from Quebec, so I'm not a Blue Jays fan. Also, I'm not a fan of anything. Fan is short for fanatic. People should be fanatical about their faith, fanatical about their family, their finances, their beliefs. I'm not fanatical about a sports team. I'm not going to go destroy anything over a sports team winning or losing, So I look at baseball and sports strictly from, this is a business, a huge, big business standpoint. And you look at it, and you know the people that work for the companies, the teams, and you respect those that do it well and understand what the people that go to the ballpark want to see, but also treat their staff right. And I've had the honor and privilege of working for a few teams that really treated the staff right. The Oakland A's, man. All the athletics people were really great to their employees, so that's something I'll always carry with me. Never had the privilege of working for a Blue Jays affiliate or an Expos affiliate, but I did work for affiliates that used to be affiliated with the Expos in Jamestown and in Burlington, but that's neither here nor there, right? And cool stuff here too. So this is these are pre-game guest passes from the Rogers Center back in the day. I think it was still the Sky Dome back then. It still is the Sky Dome to me. So October 2, 2004. No autographs. We definitely got autographs while we were there. Fanning 2. See this? Yeah, okay, so Jim Fanning, Frank Fanning. Oh, wait a minute. April 21, 2, 3, 06. October 2, 04. October 1 and 2, 04. October 2, 2004. So I was Fanning 2 on October 2, 2004. They're like, Jim Fanning's coming. He's bringing a guy. What's the guy's name? Oh, I think he said it was his son. Oh, it's too late. I already wrote Fanning 2. There you go. I know people love their tickets. See a lot of ticket stubs going around these days. So this is the October 2 ticket right there. October 1st, Yankees and Blue Jays. I'm sure someone could pull up the box scores for these games. Oh yeah, still Sky Dome. Right there, look at that. And October 1, number of tickets, 4. J.P. Ricciardi signed that one for me. Met him like kind of down by the back, or right behind home plate kind of area. And then Alex Rodriguez signed that one for me. And I remember I shook his hand. I was out on the field, kind of near the batting cage when the Yankees were in town. Clearly, because it says right there, Yankees 04. I mean, come on, man. 04 Yankees? A-Rod signing right before the playoffs like that, shaking his hand. I just remember his hand was humongous, and he had on a massive white batting glove. And when he put his hand out, like, I went to shake his hand. I'm like, nice to meet you. And yeah, he just like doesn't say anything, just the most stern look. He's huge. And he put his hand out and his hand opened up like huge, right? All of his like hands and fingers were open like that when he went to shake my hand. And I always remember that massive white hand in the batting glove. And I'm like, damn, this guy's big. And yeah, they took the 3-0 lead over the Red Sox that year. And then what Kevin Millar said, don't let us win one. And then they won all 4. And then they won the next 4 in the World Series and beat Larry Walker and the Cardinals in the World Series. This is pretty cool. Another one of these. JP. Yeah, JP Ricciardi left us some tickets. Nice. I wonder if he remembers doing that. Thanks, JP. Appreciate it, man. Saw him at the winter meetings in 2016. I think I saw him again in 19 also. I was looking for a job in 16 and then went back as a GM in 2019. And that was a big difference from the first winter meetings going as a guy looking for work and then 2019 going back as a general manager. That was 2 huge differences for the same event. So that was really cool. What else we got? The Toronto Blue Jays. Chris Hines presents the Toronto Blue Jays end of season party. October 3rd, 2004. So we were busy October 1, 2, and 3, 2004. Hosted by Orlando O-Dog Hudson. With some guests from the Yankees. That's cool. I remember that night. That was really fun. I was only 14, so I didn't really, I was just kind of an observer to that whole night. But yeah, man, O-Dog, strongest handshake I've ever experienced. And I got his picture in here somewhere. Where is that? There he is. Yeah, there he is, with the Blue Jays hat. So he went and shook my hand. I shook his hand, thanked him for having us and everything. He didn't really know me or anything, but, he saw me with my dad and stuff and was really polite to us and knew my dad worked for the organization. My dad didn't have a lot to do with the players at this time in 04, but still made appearances. And I remember O-Dog, when he shook my hand, it was the strongest handshake. You remember he had that really, really quick wrist, strong wrist, getting the ball over to first base. There's that difference between like being fast and being quick. And he was fast when he ran. He was fast when he moved. But he was quick, man. I mean, his hands, his hand-eye, his picking up a ball. I mean, his snap and throws, snapping a ball over just using his wrist. I mean, that is still the strongest handshake. I've never shaken. He held my hand when he shook my hand, like, thanks for coming, man. And, appreciate you being here. And, like, gave me, like, thank you little speech, I'm like, geez, man, my hand. It's getting pretty painful. There's Walk with the World Series turtleneck on. Larry grew up in Canada wearing a lot of turtlenecks. He played in the World Series there. That's cool. Where were we here? So we're going to go back. There's a lot of cool stuff in here. This one's, it's a Blue Jays video. But right here is a Cubs 2005. July 25th was Rich Hill's first Major League start. So that's pretty cool. We were there for that. I always was proud to have my name on one of those too. We'll do a separate video on all that. This is awesome. The Amazing Spider-Man. He's in Montreal, Quebec. Dead Ball featuring the Montreal Expos. How cool is that? I'll do another video on that one day too. That's really cool. There's an old Expos scout parking pass for the underneath the stadium. I still remember the sights and the smells and how the stadium smelled under there, and it was so cool. All right, Blue Jays history for you. Tom Henke right there. A little more Tom Henke. He's Texas there. And there's Joe Carter with the Cleveland Indians. And then there's Joe Carter with the Blue Jays 91 All-Star Game card right there. So that's pretty cool. What else we got here? Anything? That's just a cool card of Vlad. See that pose quite a bit. Kelly Gruber. Zé Roberto. There he is. Your only Blue Jays Hall of Famer right there. Delgado should be in. I mean, it's ridiculous that Delgado's not in. One and done on the ballot. I do understand. I think it's because he just straight up played for the wrong team, right? If he'd played for New York or somebody else, I think he did play for New York, the Mets. It was just later in his career. But he had some of those great years with Toronto, and I think it gets overlooked. Pat Henkin, Johnny Allrood. Overlooked, kind of like Al Oliver, you know? That's kind of the same deal, I think. Pittsburgh, Montreal, Texas, Toronto. World Baseball Classic coming up, too. We're on the topic of Blue Jays history. This is an old school mesh hat. I don't know when this would have been from, but it looks like someone was wearing it. This was my dad's hat. Pretty cool to see that. The old mesh kind of spring training looking hat. 7 5/8. I know people like these a lot too. I see a lot of people that like buy up stuff like this and just post pictures. So this is 2010 American League. Jim Fanning and a guest. Any Park. This one is 2001 American League. So this is when he was the special assistant to the GM, who was Gord Ash. 2002 American League pass. Considering we're in spring training here. 1996 spring training media pass. That's when my dad was with the Rockies right there. That's cool. Minor League Baseball. Jim Fanning 07. And then 09 Minor League Baseball. Jim Fanning. And then check this out. Frank Fanning. 2017 Minor League Baseball. Frank Fanning. 2018 Minor League Baseball. I like having both the father-son minor league baseball passes right there. But yeah, there was nothing quite like showing up with Dad at a game when he'd rock this thing. Pull that out. Lifetime pass. American and National Leagues. We could go to any ballpark with no ticket. Boom. Give you one of those. When you do what he did, you get one of those babies right there. And here's the other one. When you play in the golden era and you found the scouting bureau and you signed guys like Larry Walker and Randy Johnson and Ralph Garr, and you manage a major league team into their only postseason appearance, and you're the first GM of a team outside of the United States, and you do the things that he did, you get one of these. That's well deserved right there. He didn't brag much, but I'll brag on him right now. He was one of the most I don't know. I think the word is he is looked over so often and was such a legend in this game. And all the guys in the game know. Sometimes the fans don't know, but the guys in the game know that this guy was a legend.